Welcome to Doni Jones Live, where we have a real conversation about building a beautiful life. Today on our show, we're going to have some fun and talk with the beautiful Miss Tonya Henderson Freeman. We're going to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship, what she's got going on right now, and how she's making a difference in young girls' lives, and just doing what we talk about on our show every day, which is building a beautiful life. Welcome to our show, Tonya.
Thank you.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know about you, but I want our viewers to get to know you a little bit more.
All right. So I am originally from Atlanta, Georgia, and went to the University of Georgia.
Yes.
I have a statistics degree from there. I work for the Centers for Disease Control and have been there about 32 years. I also have an organization called Dolls to Divas Incorporated.
Yes.
And I have been mentoring a long time, like probably as long as I've been working, I've been mentoring young ladies, grown people,
like me.
Adults. And so about maybe 10 or 15 years ago, I started Dolls to Divas Incorporated, and my focus group has been middle school girls and up. And
what made you, I didn't mean to cut you off, I apologize. What made you, because I think one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show is that I also have middle school girls. And we had been friends for years, and you actually used to be one of my tree customers a long time ago. We'll go into that later. But I ran into you at the gym, and we kind of were friendly and everything, and then you told me about your program, Dolls to Divas. And with me having middle school girls and knowing the pressures that come with that, I was really impressed. And then when I went to the event, it was like I'd never been to anything that classy, specifically targeted at middle school girls, specifically. And I don't know if you did this on purpose, but middle school African American girls. Okay. And so, tell me about that.
All of it is intentional. Both of my parents were educators in the Atlanta public school system.
Yes.
And my mother was my encouraging factor on targeting middle school girls. She's always said that even just middle school kids, they're going through a lot of peer pressure, they're going through emotional changes, they're going through puberty. So there's a lot going on. So she's like, you got a kid one moment, you got an adult the next moment, or think that they're
they think that they're an adult.
And so she's like, that's a pivotal moment where you can really catch a kid and really, direct them in a positive direction. So it was intentional, starting with middle school girls. Over the years, though, I've actually had moms come to me that want their elementary school. So at times I will work with 4th and 5th graders as well. I have a cohort of girls that I started with, like I said, 10 or 15 years ago. They're all, graduated in college or have fulfilled their careers. They've moved on, done some really positive things, really impacting the communities. And a lot of them have social media outlets now. And I'm just really proud of them. So the event you were talking about is a Pink Affair.
And I apologize because I keep calling it from your organization is Dolls to Divas,
right?
And the event that I had the pleasure of going to is a Pink Affair,
right?
Tell us about a Pink Affair.
All right, so initially a Pink Affair started out as a mother-daughter event. And it was just an outlet for mothers and daughters to come out, enjoy each other, network, have some positive energy. And then it has really turned into more of a woman's empowerment. Ladies speaking and sharing their knowledge and their positive energy, and sharing it in the presence of young ladies and little girls, so that we know that media is not what teaches our girls to be ladies and teaches our girls to, what is important in life.
Right. Well, you mentioned social media, and as the mother of 2 daughters, I am really concerned about the images that I see right now, on social media. And I feel like programs like yours helps to, I guess, shift the narrative and give young girls and women a role model that they can look to that isn't taking their clothes off, that's focusing on education.
So you're really hitting on, again, what Dolls to Divas is all about. I wanted to really take, one of my mottos is take the video out of, just life. Life is not just a video. There's more things to life for young girls to do other than be a video or, or all the other things that are out there.
I keep wondering, every time you say video, there's another word that comes out of that. I'm like, we don't want y'all to be that.
So anyway, so I saw like 20 years ago what media was doing, to young ladies.
Yes.
And it's important that we in our own homes, you know, direct what our kids do.
Yeah.
So there's not always
that,
there's not always things that are bad about social media or media itself.
Right.
But we have to have control, just like our parents did. Our parents always monitored what we watched.
That's right.
Our parents monitor what activities we're in. Our parents really monitor the people we hang out with.
That's right.
To the best of their ability. So,
but as a parent, okay, and I know you and I have talked about this off camera, and I know that your daughter is amazing. She's gorgeous, you know, and she's involved in so many things. As a parent, how do you control that, you know, in your home?
Okay, so first of all, like everybody always know, my daughter is a normal kid just like anybody else's. And so, and people that really know her know that about her. She got major personality and she's all over the top just like any other kid.
Where she got that from?
So, you know, it's hard. I mean, it's not any easier for me to manage it than you as a parent or any of my other friends. I just really try to just keep it real with her, you know, just about image. Image is key, you know. Your image is all that you have. And like we were talking a little bit about legacy, you know, we have a strong family name to carry on.
That's right.
Everybody does.
And your dad actually, go ahead and finish what you're saying. No.
So we'll segue into that too. So so like my dad, like I said, my mom and dad were educators in Atlanta, in the Atlanta public school system. My dad went to Morris Brown College. My mom went to Georgia State, and both back in the 60s. So really breaking racial barriers too. And so my dad was really prominent in Atlanta. The stadium at Grady High School is named after my dad. I was going to mention that, yes. My dad has done a lot of things as a first African-American man. And so I wouldn't sit here and say what all those things are because I don't want to get it wrong. Right. But I just know he's broken.
He was the president.
But, you know, really highly well-respected man in Atlanta, very highly respected by youth. And, like, it makes me feel really proud when guys come up to me like, your dad changed my life. You know, even my dad's deceased now. So even to hear, like, at his funeral, at a celebration for him, all these people and especially men coming up saying what that my dad did for them, and he didn't miss a beat at home. And so that's what I'm saying. We have to be very mindful of what we have our kids involved in and making our kids our highest priority. To this day, I am 53 years old. My mother still tells me, you make Ty your highest priority over anybody.
That's right.
And so, you know, we have to make our kids feel like home is where they're safe, so that when they do social media or they do see TV or whatever, they still have a balance. They know right from wrong.
That's right.
You know, and so my daughter has an Instagram account. She has Snapchat. She has Musical.ly, but she knows that we're looking at it.
That's right.
And she knows that the image that she needs to have, even on social media, better be good and clean and straight, you know? And
but do you think having such a solid background with your dad and with your mom being educators, that your daughter has almost cosmically or intuitively got that image is important? Because I think somewhere along the line, I see the stuff on social media and I see the kids doing inappropriate things on social media. And in my mind, I don't think there's anything that goes through their mind going, what is my mom and dad going to think? Accountability. But I really believe when I talk to Ty, and she stayed over at my house before, she's conscious of her image, and she's conscious of how she presents herself, and I'm proud enough to say that I feel like my daughters do the same thing. They're conscious. That doesn't mean that they don't make mistakes.
But you're hitting on another key thing, and this is something my parents used to always say to us too. You better know how to act when you leave this house. So we get all the other energy, because I even remember when in elementary school, like, we get the pouting, we get we get the attitude. And I remember talking to one of her teachers, and they were like, they have to be good at school. If they know their parents know they're going to hold them accountable, they have to be good all day long.
Absolutely.
So you get what we don't get, and thank goodness for that. So you know, we do have to be proud of our girls too.
We are very proud.
And that's what I'm saying. They're human. They are going through what any human girl would go through.
That's right.
And so we can't fault them for that, but we have to help them grow through
and remember what we went through.
Yes, exactly.
Well, you know, I was talking to you, and I was talking to another friend, because I was concerned about, you know, social media, and I was also concerned about this attitude that I was starting to get. And so she had a sleepover at a friend of hers house after I allowed her to go, even though I was a little frustrated with, you know, a little conversation that she and I had. So in my mind and in my heart, I'm like, man, maybe I'm failing as a parent. What am I doing wrong? And where's all this mouth coming from? And overall, she's an amazing girl, right? So when I go to pick her up the next day, you know, I'm talking to the mom whose house she stayed over, and they're like, your daughters, they're so wonderful, they're so sweet.
Like,
they got up this morning and they helped cook, and they made their bed. I'm like, okay, well, where's this at when they're at home?
So look,
it's getting in there.
Every mom
you gotta
goes through
remember,
it. It's almost like we need a mom support group when they get to middle school.
Yeah.
And I heard after they get through middle school, it kind of starts balancing back out.
Yeah.
So they get to a point where they're not your best friend, which you don't really want your kid to be your best friend, but you know what I mean.
I do.
They are not your little girl that wants to hang up under you. They're not the girl you can dress anymore. But you can teach them to be conscious, and that's the other thing I like to do with Dolls of Divas is just, you know, teach them to be conscious of how they present themselves, of how they dress, of who they are when they go out, but being very confident too, and knowing that there is so many different things you can do with your life. And I think we kind of miss that sometimes with our African American girls, teaching them that, look, you could be the video guy or girl.
That's right. You don't
go
have
to
production.
Be the person
That's
dancing
right.
in front of the video.
That's
go
right.
get the money. That's where the money is.
Well, I've heard the behind the scenes is where the money is.
Exactly.
The people that are behind the cameras are the ones that are you know, the people you don't see. All those credits that you see at the end of a movie.
Right.
You know, a lot of those people making 6 figures, 7 figures.
Exactly.
You know.
And so that's what I try to do is another one of my mottos is think outside the box. So I try to expose my girls to things that are outside the box. Something you might not normally think. Like, I would love for them to come talk to you, or you come speak to them, you know, hear your story. You know, you're a female that's owning a tree company. Everybody probably thinks it's a guy, you know?
And they do. They think my husband started it.
Right.
You
and
know?
so, you know, you have a story to tell. So I like to introduce them to African American entrepreneurs that are doing well, and even if they started with a struggle, to see where they ended up.
And I definitely started with a struggle.
So, you know, it's things like that I like to expose them. And initially we started out with just going out dining, because we wanted to have proper dining etiquette and everything. And then it turned into, let's have a weekend of where we have a speaker, we have you know, our dining experience where we practice our etiquette, and then we also just have some fun together. So we would have this thing called Girl Talk, and I have all the girls just put a topic in like a glass vase like that, and then we'll pull a topic out and we'll just talk about it. And that was you know, over a weekend, and that was with girls whose parents trusted me with their girls.
And that's the other thing, you're trustworthy. There's a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot, but there are programs out there that you can, you know, introduce your kids to, but you don't know the people's background. You know, with you having a name in the community, you're also a mom. I feel comfortable turning my girls over to you. The other thing that you mentioned, which it sounds small, but it's so big, and I've been in, I wouldn't say corporate America, but I had a job before I started my own business. And it was in retail, but we would get invited to certain events, corporate events. And they expected you to act a certain way, have certain little niceties and etiquette things in order. And I was blessed to have a grandmother that taught me etiquette. She taught me which spoons go where and where the knife and the fork is. And looking back now, I'm so thankful for that. And that's one of the things that you teach. But the reason why I bring that up is because, you know, everybody knows about that racism exists, but we also don't necessarily talk about classism. And I've seen people that have talent, personality, and everything that get into a corporate environment, but because they don't know the little niceties, people don't take them as seriously. And I know that's got to change.
Oh yeah, that's
but
so
can you talk about how you, well, first of all, I want to take a break real quick, but when we come back, I want to talk about how being in corporate America, you've seen those little things that you've learned make a big difference in your career.
And I want to talk about how I got to where I was, because I'm a tomboy by nature.
Okay. But we wouldn't know about it. We'll be right back.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey lady, I'm here to take down your tree.
Don't just hire anybody, you just never know what you might be getting. Don's Tree Service offers quality service and reasonable prices. Just call 770-413-TREE and have our professionals come and give you a free quote. After you choose a service, our crew will come out and work safe and efficiently. Our goal is to leave you with a smile on your face and no debris in your yard.
Not just trees, we aim to please. 770-413-TREE.
Welcome back. Once again, we are talking to Tonya Henderson Freeman. and she's with Dolls to Divas. And we're right before the break, we started talking about etiquette and how that can affect you in corporate America. And I wanted to get back to that. And the reason is because you've gone up the corporate ladder and you've achieved success in your career, as well as having your own business. And you know my thing, I love entrepreneurship, but at the same time, I know that not everybody's going to just quit their job and go start a plumbing company or start an event planning business. Some people, we need people in the community that can do their job, do it well, grow with the company, grow with the organization. But at the same time, those little niceties that I think sometimes we dismiss as, you know, just trying to be like the white man or whatever you want to call it, those little things that help you on your day-to-day interaction with people that don't necessarily look like you. Have you seen how knowing those type of little intricacies has helped you in corporate America?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, my parents, again, were educators and really big on us acting properly. You know, there's a time and a place for everything, and making sure that we were equipped with being able to communicate with anybody. Like I've never felt like I wasn't entitled. No matter what room I stepped in.
You own it.
Right, you know, and I got that from my parents. You know, they always put us in situations where you belong here.
That's right.
You know, and they never had to preach that to us. And that's what I commend my parents on. And that's why I think exposure is so important. Because when you put your kids in a position where, oh, I belong here. You know, nobody tells me I don't belong here. And you got to know how to act when you belong there. So yeah, etiquette comes from home. And then what my mom also did,
that don't have that, though?
So what my mom did, and not to say that I didn't have etiquette, but I was a really big tomboy. Like I was a daddy's girl. My dad's a football coach, so, and a big softball player, so I was on my dad's coattail a lot. My mom ended up putting me into charm school. It was called Sears Roebuck Charm School here in Atlanta, and I actually ended up winning in my competition, whatever role or whatever. So that helped me a lot be a lady, you know, like my mother was really big on, you don't ride around with hair rollers in your hair, your nails should always be done, you know, just really keeping yourself together. So
you're going from top to bottom.
I always call myself a girly tomboy because my heart and soul is really tomboy. I love football, I love sports, I love playing, you know, tackle, you know, whatever.
That's right. Where did you go to college?
I went to the University of Georgia.
That's right. Go
We're on the map again. So anyway, so that's how it's important. So I'm not saying you have to put your kid in a school or a formal class or anything, but if you don't know, it is good to come to events like mine, Dolls to Divas Incorporated, and to my Pink Affair event and all the other events that I do.
And how do people get in contact with you? I mean, we'll say it again at the end of the show, but just real quickly, how do we get in contact with you?
All right, so my email address is dolls, DOLLS, the number 2, divas, DIVAS, at Comcast.net. That's the easiest. So you could just contact me there, and I can add you to my email list, and you know, come out to my events and everything.
And when is your next event?
So we're looking at doing something in the spring, which is almost spring. I'm hoping to have a boutique, luxury boutique bus where we go around at different boutiques.
Nice.
And do a little shopping. I usually do a Pink Affair in the springtime. We're working on that, but it might be later this year. So
well, you got to get in contact with us and get us those dates. I'd love to talk to you again, maybe in a month or two. When we get closer to the event time. I'd love
so
to
we're working on that. We're working on a couple of events, just, you know, like for ladies and for women and girls.
That's right.
The other thing is I am on Facebook. I have a Dolls to Divas Incorporated page, so you can check there just to kind of see what we're doing.
And how do we get you up on Facebook?
My name on Facebook is Tonya Henderson Freeman. So I will friend people. Gotta know who you are. No,
no. Let me tell you something. Going back to social media.
Social media is a little dangerous these days.
You know, we've been growing our platform, and I'm getting people from India.
So you have to still be careful.
People from Africa and Nigeria and stuff like that that have inappropriate content. And I'm like, I don't know these people. And even from America, you know, I get the half naked people, and I'm like, no.
What I think is Instagram. It might be better. Like, I have an Instagram page too. It's called Dolls to Divas, and again, DOLLS, the number 2, and Divas with an S, because then people are not allowed to post for you. You know,
Okay.
you're posting yourself. So I would suggest that for you. So anyway, we were talking about career and how you act when you're in corporate America. So I have been fortunate enough to have parents that make sure that, you know, my brother and I were well equipped.
Well equipped,
I also, while we're talking about corporate America and the fact that I've worked at CDC for over 30 years, I also come from a family of strong entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So we've always felt like, you know, you have your career, but you got your side
You
hustle.
gotta have a side. But
Right.
you know, it's
and
funny
your
you say
side
that.
hustle should be your passion.
Yes.
It should not be anything that stresses you out.
Right.
It should be something that you can give back to others. And
Like event planning?
as one of my great friends
event planning?
has taught me is that you should always monetize your talent.
That's right.
And not be feel guilty about it.
Right.
Because all of us are given God-given talents, you know, and we share them openly. And I know people like you and I, you know, we give people a strong opportunity to use our talents.
That's right.
And we are not charging, you know.
No, not at
and then
all.
there's times when we do. Everybody got to make a living, you know.
Oh, I charge for tree service now. She's talking.
So yeah. So,
I love to interview that people, and I do that right now for charge. But
Right, that's
tree
your-
service, I
that's-
charge. for
Right,
that.
that's your livelihood, and so
Yeah.
it's important to know that, you know,
Yeah.
you have a life. That's your
right.
livelihood.
Yeah.
And so
gotta pay for this
being
stuff.
in at CDC, it definitely I love it because it's such a diverse company.
Yes.
I've learned a lot from other people, other cultures. I respect people for who they are.
Right.
I see how religion and racial racism and racial background has separated people, and I just feel like that's one place where I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
And you do need to know how to act in your job.
You need to know how to act. But getting back to, because you know the thing I like to talk about on the show is building a beautiful life. You've done that. You know, that doesn't mean that life is perfect, but you've done that.
Right.
What's been integral in you building? What are some practical things that people can do nowadays with everything that's going on, with racism, with xenophobia, homophobia, with the political arena that we're in right now? What do you do, or what advice can you give to people on a daily basis?
I think the most important
continue to build a
thing
beautiful life.
is you got to stay true to yourself. You got to stay true to your family, and just stay focused. Like this, I have to tell you, I do not look at media much anymore. For me, and everybody has their own personal take on this. Some people want to know it because they want to know what's going on. I don't like a lot of drama.
Yeah.
I don't, and I'm talking all over the board. I mean, like with the politics, with the reality shows or whatever, like that consumes
Yeah.
me. It keeps me off balance.
Yeah.
And so you got to know what keeps you off balance.
Yeah.
You know, in a state and time like this, you need to figure out what keeps me balanced.
Yes.
For me, the media keeps me off balance. You know, I'm just like, that's too much of my time, too much absorbment or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I said, for other people, it might energize them. It might energize them to do other
Well,
things.
it's funny you
I
say
like
that.
to stay focused on what I'm trying to do.
It's funny you say that, because to a certain point, I do feel like I am. There's like a little activist in me. So I always feel like a need to speak up, whether I'm at church, whether I'm out at Quick Trip, or on social media. And I think what I've found for myself, I'll call people out on stuff. I'll post something that I feel like needs to be said about
Yeah.
racial inequality.
Yeah.
But what goes from a post about, hey, I'm calling this out and saying that this is inappropriate, it becomes like this argument.
Yes.
And I'm like, at some point you gotta go.
cut it off.
Yeah, and actually this happened to me 2 weeks ago. I brought up, something about, racial inequality, and I guess somebody from the other side thought that I was trying to say that black people are gonna take over the world, and I'm like, that is not what I'm saying. First of all, who I'm married to, my kids look like, and I live in a very diverse community, and I love everybody. So that wasn't what I was saying, but it became like something that consumed like literally, I'm working and responding to Facebook posts.
Yeah.
And I said, this is not healthy.
I think
It's
what you
not
have to
healthy.
understand too, when it comes to social media, you are still in control
Yes.
of what you do on social
That's right.
media and what other people do. Like people know that are my friends on Facebook. You don't get to come on my page and say negative things.
Right.
You can try it, you get deleted.
Deleted.
Because it's my page. You know, that's my page. That's my outlet to speak. people know me as a very positive person. I try I try to really post a lot of positive things or exciting things or fun things, you know, and I take my football serious. You know, I take everything serious. You don't get the opportunity to speak negative on my page. That's your page.
Right.
If you want to be negative,
go to your page and be negative. Absolutely.
So, and I think, so that's where even today again, you know, you send a message of who you are.
Yeah.
You are in control of everything you do. You know, so with all the stuff that's going on in the world or whatever, I would say stay focused. Be true to yourself, stay focused, be positive, be an energy that helps somebody.
Yeah.
Don't be the energy that adds to the fire. You know, it's enough fire out there.
But I gotta commend you again, because I look at you, even now just sitting watching you talk, I'm like, this woman, we haven't got a chance to get into everything, but you're a single mom. You've got this beautiful daughter that you've raised, and you've done just an amazing job with, and continue to do so. You've moved up through the corporate ladder. You've got your own business. How do you do all of that, you know, and not fall into the stereotypes that so many people try to project on people that may be divorced or something like that?
Yeah,
like you don't even that doesn't even ride with you. You supersede all of that. How do you do that? Because there's people out there that are hurting right now that don't know how to get past that.
I am really glad you brought that up. We were just having a conversation. So now I have a boyfriend. And
that's right. So I can't say single. I can say,
we were having that conversation because I have to. Like, he's like, I'm not the highest priority in your life, and I'm trying to get there. But you know, like my parents were married forever. They were high school sweethearts, and everything. So that's the image I saw. You know, I saw it right in my home. I saw a great father, a great mom. So to even get divorced was like heavy for me. You know, that's when I really found God. That's why I can say I have my own relationship with God. I don't have to. People don't have to preach to me anymore. I know I have it. I know when God is speaking to me. You know, like I remember when I was a little girl, like, how you know God talking to you? What is it gonna be, a voice? You know?
Yeah.
But you know,
but you get to a point where you know.
when you fall rock bottom, and I didn't fall rock bottom. My soul might have, but you know, I had to pick myself back up. I had some really great friends in my corner. I had an awesome mom in my corner because my dad was already deceased when I got divorced. And my mother is so strong. She's a very mild, meek woman, but she has great encouragement. Yes. And so I have to say my God and my mom, you know, and she always has made me feel really proud of myself. She commends me. She helps me with my daughter, you know. She's always rewarded us. Like my parents always even financially rewarded us for good grades.
That's what I'm saying.
Some parents are against that. My parents are like, you make an A, you getting some money. Right. You bring a C in here, you ain't getting nothing.
Believe it or not, I mean, mine gets enough stuff, okay, and periodically to get money. But my thing is this: as a kid, that's their job, is to be good in school. Why not reward that? You know, and don't be getting no ideas. Y'all get rewarded.
So with my daughter, you know, like you said, I've been a single mom or whatever. She definitely has a dad. He's very involved in her life.
Your ex is amazing.
But we put her first, you know, so that kind of helped me get through it too. The focus was on making sure she stayed balanced as a kid. It wasn't her fault that we got divorced. We got divorced when she was 4, you know, and so her thing to me was, what's going to happen to my happy family? Because that's when Barney was out. So, you know, I put a lot of soul into getting to know God. I put a lot of soul into still raising an awesome kid. Yes. And I have to say, yes, I'm glad that she is an awesome kid. Yeah. I'm very proud of her. She has taken a lot of ownership. I've had people say, or I've heard that people have said I make excuses for my kid, and I don't. I think she's an awesome kid. Yeah. She takes ownership. I don't have to study with her. She takes ownership of wanting to be in whatever.
She's a go-getter like her mom.
She is. And so
I tell you what, we're going to have to revisit this conversation again, because honestly, we could talk for 2 hours, but we're only at 30 minutes. thank you for coming on the show. I honor you and I appreciate you. And in fact, I'm gonna give you a copy of my book, From Failure to Fabulous.
All right.
And if you like it, I want you to be able to talk about it.
Yes.
But the main thing is I want people to be able to get in contact with you, to learn from you. And actually, I would love for you guys to come out and support Pink Affair, which is put on by her company, Dolls to Divas. Why don't you look at the camera and tell them how to get in contact with you?
Okay, so once again, Dolls to Divas, and the 2 is the number 2, Dolls to Divas at Comcast.net, and that's via email. I do have a Google number. It's 707, the area code is correct, 348-2792. So that's my Google number.
Thank you guys for joining the show today. Once again, if you want to get in contact with her, reach out to her on Facebook, reach out to her at her email. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me at Doni Jones Life, L-I-F-E, that's Doni, D-O-N-I, Jones, J-O-N-E-S, Life, L-I-F-E, at gmail.com. Or you can reach out to me on Facebook at Doni Jones, D-O-N-I, J-O-N-E-S, and you'll see my picture pop up. All right, thanks for joining us, guys. Bye-bye.